It's been over 2 years since the end of The Mandalorian Season 2, and over a year since we last saw Din Djarin in the Book of Boba Fett. As he broke his creed by showing his face to Grogu, he is now branded an apostate, and can only redeem himself by a task that seems to be impossible. Will he be able to pull it off? Should he even do so, and what else will the new season have in store for us? Hi there, it's Micha. If you'd like to find out more, then stay with me for this review video. Let me start with a quick personal call out. As I review all episodes of a previous season, I revisited the last one to check how I handled those. Even though those were some of my earliest videos on my channel, I'm still quite happy with them. But my style has changed a lot since then, especially regarding my editing and visuals. Therefore I was asking myself if I should copy my style from back then to make it a consistent experience, or if I should do it as I would do it today. At an earlier point in my life, I would have tried whatever I can to go for consistency. But now I think that approach would only make me stand in my own way. So I will tackle it however I feel will suit it best. To hell with inflexibility. Also, other things have changed. My friend Neil, with whom I collaborated on some videos in the past, got quite busy in recent years. He provided me with some nice insights and Easter eggs, and the music I keep using for this review series, and which you can hear right now. Thanks again, mate. Neil still might share some callouts with me along the line, if his time allows. If so, I will create a separate video or more with Easter eggs and other details, if it makes sense and fits into the overall approach. Well, that's all I wanted to share, so now let's look into the synopsis of the season premiere. The season starts with a quick recap, including what happens with Mando and the child in the Book of Boba Fett. So in case you missed that show, Din had a Beskar chainmail made for Grogu and brought it to the planet where Luke trained the kid. Luke offered Grogu a choice.
You may choose the way of the Jedi, or return to your friend, the Mandalorian.
Oh, look who it is!
The child chose Din and was brought back to him. So now they are back together again. Oh, and Din got a new spaceship, an N1 starfighter. Much smaller but faster and more agile. And that's that. Also remember that since he has shown his face to others, including to Grogu at the end of Season 2, Din Djarin is now considered to be an apostate, which is also the title of this episode. The actual episode then starts with an initiation ceremony of a young Mandalorian, which could be mistaken as a flashback to Din's induction. At least that's what I thought. Suddenly, a giant alligator beast shows up and attacks the group, which fought bravely, but the outcome was uncertain. This is when Mando arrives in his ship and blasts the beast to pieces. He talks to the armorer about his redemption.
How can I atone?
One may only be redeemed in the living waters beneath Mandalore,
which she thinks to be lost. As this is the only way to atone for his transgressions, he wants to find out if that is true and prove it. She reaffirms that if they still exist and he fulfills his task, then he will be redeemed as
this is the way.
They then travel to Navarro, where Grogu sees some things traveling aside them in hyperspace. Seemingly living creatures that apparently only he is able to perceive. On Navarro they passed by a statue in honor of IG-11, the droid that sacrificed itself or himself to protect Grogu, a statue built out of his remaining parts. Din is then greeted by Greef Karga, who has become the High Magistrate. When Karga is challenged to a duel by Vane, the leader of a group of pirates, he manages to win, but Din has to kill the others who wouldn't let that stand. Letting Vane leave though, with the message to all pirates that Navarro doesn't welcome their kind anymore. This prompts Karga to offer Din a position as Marshal, as Cara was recruited by the New Republic for their special forces. He also shares that Moff Gideon was sent to a New Republic war tribunal, As Din needs a droid to help him explore Mandalore and he only ever trusted IG-11, he asks permission to try to reactivate him. The attempt fails, as the droid reverted back to his Kill Grogu protocol, so they had to shut him down again, with force. Karga suggests trying the Anzellan droidsmiths, who might be able to fix his programming, which they could, if they had a working memory circuit. So our duo leaves to find the needed part. But after coming out of hyperspace, while teaching Grogu about the navigation system,
being a Mandalorian's not just learning about how to fight. You also have to know how to navigate the galaxy.
They are attacked by several pirate ships, looking for revenge. However, after defeating them all, Din finds himself facing the warship of Shard, the pirate captain. But getting away from him is super easy, barely an inconvenience. Pushing the hyperspace button was all they needed to do. The episode ends with them landing near a castle on Kalevala, a planet within the Mandalore system. In the throne room they find Bo-Katan. He offers to join her, but she says there is nothing left to join. She has abandoned her plans to retake Mandalore, as without the Darksaber, she wasn't accepted as queen and her fleet has reverted back to being mercenaries. Instead, she tells Din to use the Darksaber to lead their people, but also scolds him for being part of a cult, the Children of the Watch, that gave up on Mandalore long ago and fractured their people. And she asks him where he was during the Purge. She also tells him that there is nothing left on Mandalore, but since Mando still wants to go there, Bo-Katan gives him the location where the mines once were. Din then vows to find redemption and the definite proof whether Mandalore has been truly poisoned or not, and leaves. Wow, that summary grew longer than I planned, but since this episode kicks off the third season, of course there is a lot of stuff they set up to send the show on its way. Because
this is the way.
And I don't want to miss any detail here that might turn out to be important in the future.
Alright, kid. Hang on. You ready for an adventure?
This episode did a great job in doing fan service, setting up the path of the season, and creating more cash-in opportunities for Disney. Let's look at the fan service, where the biggest one is them dangling the prospect of bringing back fan favorite droid IG-11 in front of us. It didn't succeed at first, but like with similar tasks in previous episodes, this will become a side quest that they have to master, which immediately reminded me of the point-and-click adventure-like chapter setup I mentioned in my reviews for Season 2. In a movie that would feel out of place, and like filler, but in a series they can pull it off. I reckon the next episode will cover that, and then we have Taika Waititi, voicing IG-11, back on the show. Yeah! And of course there are Easter eggs and creatures showing up that you know from other Star Wars entities, like the Kovakian monkey lizards. In this episode we see some sitting in a tree, KISS, which you know from Return of a Jedi, where one was Jabba's pet. And in The Mandalorian Chapter 1 you can see one being grilled on a rotisserie of a street vendor, while another one in a cage is looking at this in horror. I liked it that they didn't just ignore Cara Dune's absence or killed her character off, but mentioned she was recruited by the New Republic Special Forces, which could have been at the center of its own series if Gina Carano would still be involved with the franchise. Carano was let go after some tweets that some considered racist, but were objectively just dumb and uninformed. Everyone was expecting her return, which would have been possible if she apologized. Also, producer Jon Favreau was campaigning hard on her behalf, but with her starring in the right-wing produced movie My Son Hunter, she successfully self-sabotaged, basically becoming toxic for all major studios. Apparently the creatures Grogu sensed in hyperspace are space whales called Purgil and have a connection to Ahsoka Tano. Might be an early tie-in with her upcoming series. And also, I really need to find time to watch the animated Star Wars shows. They seem to be gaining more and more relevance now. Another Easter egg I learned about while watching an interview with Favreau on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Kimmel's nephew was playing a young Tusken rider in the Book of Boba Fett and was doing such a great job that he was brought back to play Ragnar, the Mandalorian foundling who was initiated at the start of the chapter. The Anzellan Smiths we also know, from The Rise of Skywalker, where they were introduced. I loved how Grogu instantly loved them and hugged one, even if too tight. And here we get to the point of them doing a great job in setting up cash-in opportunities, because there will likely be a lot of merchandise be coming along with those little guys. Not sure if they already are big due to Rise of Skywalker, or if the fact that that movie was not that well received put a brake on that. But now I'm sure that they will make a lot of money from them. And I don't complain, because fans are happy to spend money on merch around beloved characters. And Disney loves to make money.
Breakout star.
I only dislike it when creatures are being introduced just for that purpose, being blatant cash grabs with little relevance or no impact at all on the plot, even though they are cute. The part of my brain appreciating cuteness still wouldn't complain, but my logic circuits would feel offended. I guess they also showed the monkey lizards more casual this time to make them bankable again, after previously showing them in a dire situation that likely has no marketing potential, but since they are recurring creatures, I liked it. And regarding planting the seed for this season, they have shown us the immediate mission of Din finding redemption, where the longer goal will be to prove Mandalore is not lost, with some side quests, like restoring IG-11, being stepping stones along the way.
I'm going to Mandalore.
They also did a great job in just bringing in Bo-Katan, catching us up on what's new with her and her crew in a few sentences. I am curious if she will join forces with Din, being his adversary, or staying completely uninvolved in this season. My theory here: they will rub each other the wrong way for a while, then Din, who is not interested in leading anyway, will find a way to hand the Darksaber to Bo-Katan, and they will then join forces to start bringing back Mandalore to its former glory. I would also really like it if he, along the way on his task to atone, realizes that he doesn't even have to do that, because the Children of the Watch are just a small religious cult anyway, and finds his way back to the majority of his people. That way we could also see Pedro Pascal's face a little bit more, which would be nice for him as an actor and for Grogu as his adopted son. Another outcome, but maybe not this season, could be that Din really becomes the leader, because the best people to lead are those who are rather reluctant to do so, because they don't seek power. I still expect Mando to have some Jedi power dormant in him as well, based on some interactions we saw with Grogu in the last season. As the Jedi and Mandalorian for some reason are sworn enemies, Din Djarin might therefore be able to bridge the two societies, being part of them both. But we will see where the road will lead us.
This is the way.
I really enjoyed this chapter kicking off season 3. The acting was strong as usual, I loved the special effects, like the alligator monster at the beginning, which was done very well. And of course I melted away every moment our cute and cuddly little star, Grogu, appeared on screen, where I especially liked him seeing the space whales and later using his power to get a snack.
Where you're from, you may be an apostate, but here, you'd be landed gentry.
Which every kid in his shoes would do. They also showed off nicely what Din's new ship can do in a real dogfight situation, which was impressive, exciting and fun to watch. With the pirate captain Gorian Chart and his crew, they also seem to have introduced new recurring enemies, who may pop up whenever the screenplay needs some random action. Clever move. Hope they don't reduce them to just that purpose and bring in some backstory too. With that being said, let's get into the rating, but before we do so, let me ask you to like and share this video if you enjoyed it so far. And if you are not a subscriber yet, maybe consider to change that. By also hitting the notification bell, you will get a heads up for most of my new videos. Now for the rating. Like I mentioned, I enjoyed this episode a lot. As most of the cliffhanger moments from the end of season 2 were resolved during the Book of Boba Fett, we could jump right into the new storyline, which holds Din Djarin's quest for redemption and us finding out the state and possible future of Mandalore. This chapter was balancing fanservice, action and exposition effortlessly, entertaining us while showing us the way for the upcoming episodes, raising expectations while satisfying our basic Grogu needs.
What the hell?
Technical merits and the acting were strong, and the chapter left us wanting more, which is exactly what we wanted. As there is little I think they could have done differently or better, I'm rating this first chapter of Season 3 with 9 out of 10 points right out of the gate. I hope the next episode already brings back IG-11 with his protector programming intact, and look forward to find out more about Mandalore. What about you? What are you looking forward to? Did you like the episode as well, or did you find a fault with it? What are your theories about future episodes? Whatever you like to share, let me know in the comments. So much for now, see you next time, and thanks for watching! They also showed off nicely that Din's new what Din's new ship can do in a real dogfight situation, which was impressive, exciting and fun to watch. With the pirate captain, Gorian Chart and his crew,